Granddad, what's good?
Hey there, got us a quarter pounder with cheese and McNuggets.
Wow, haven't had our special McDonald's order in a minute.
Heard your little tic-tac-toe dance didn't get no likes.
Oh man, is Mom telling everybody?
You know she is.
There's a deal for every favorite grandson at McDonald's. Right now, get one favorite like a quarter pounder with cheese or 10-piece chicken McNuggets and get another for just $1. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Valid for item of equal or lesser value.
This is gonna be just like senior year, except for funner.
Hey guys, I'm Kendra.
Hi, I'm Mercedes, and this week we're talking about one of the best Friends to Lovers movies, Brown Sugar.
The best. I think that is an understatement, Mercedes. I am so excited to talk about this film because it has been a staple of my childhood. But first, before I get too excited, we gotta kick it off with our celebrity crush of the week. Who are you crushing on this week, Mercedes?
Yeah. So mine isn't really a celebrity, it's a public figure, Jack Kennedy Schlossberg. Shout out to my friend Kristen, who saw him on a plane the other day. And since then, we've just been talking about him and like stalking his meme-filled Instagram. And he's tall, he has great hair. He's just like a pretty boy.
Okay, I have no idea who this is. What does he do? Is he an influencer?
He's just like a Kennedy. He's JFK's grandson.
Okay.
Yeah. So like he's just a Kennedy.
It's just a Kennedy. No big deal. Hey, it's a powerful last name. So if you guys got married, wouldn't be mad. Okay. So I went to the movies for the first time in forever because I'm super lazy and just wait for everything to come on one of the streamers. But I went to go see Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. And can I just say, Mads Mikkelsen is my celebrity crush this week. And I will never forget the first time I fell in love with him. It was in 2012. I had an internship at the Cannes Film Festival in France. And he had a film premiering there called The Hunt. And it's a Danish film written and directed by Thomas Vinterberg. Shout out to him because he makes the best movies ever. And this movie will always freaking stay with me, Mercedes, because it was so good. It's basically about a kindergarten teacher that gets falsely accused of child abuse. And his entire life is ruined. And it's crazy. Like he gets falsely accused by one of his like kindergarten students. And his entire life is ruined. And it is such a, if you ever have the chance, I'll have to find where it's playing. All of our listeners too, you guys have to watch this movie. It is one of the best movies I've ever seen. And Mads Mikkelsen kills it. That wasn't the first time I saw it. That was like the first time I realized like I love this man. I love him. He's talented. He's amazing. I will watch everything that he's in. Yes. So
his bone structure, amazing. Like
it is
really,
amazing.
oh my gosh. Every time I see him, I'm like, that's like witchcraft. And now he's in Harry Potter. So
yo, the Danes, the freaking Danes. I've been to Denmark twice. They are beautiful. They are constructed perfectly. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I totally agree. It's wild.
All right, listeners, we're gonna move right over into the TLDR. Just a warning, there are spoilers ahead. If you have not seen Brown Sugar, you can watch it on Amazon Prime. Take it away, Mercedes.
Yeah. Okay, so Sydney Shaw, played by Sanaa Lathan, and Dre Ellis, played by Taye Diggs, are childhood friends who at a young age really bond over a shared love of hip-hop. Now as adults, Sydney is a successful writer and new editor of the hip-hop mag XXL, and Dre is the rep at Millennial Records, and he's really lacking the passion he once had for the music. He kind of feels like a sellout right now. But the two are still best friends as adults, and now Sydney has moved back to New York, and as they reunite, Dre is preparing to propose to his attorney girlfriend, Reese, played by Nicole Ari Parker. And the night before the wedding, Sydney and Dre share a kiss, but he still marries Reese. It's wild.
It's wild.
Now, now they're back to living their regular lives. Sydney begins dating an NBA player, and Dre quits his job to start his own music label to focus on bringing back real hip-hop, really focusing on authenticity. He quickly signs a local rapper, Chris, played by Mos Def, to the label. Yeah, it's so hilarious in this movie. Oh my God. Reese is so unsupportive of his career move, while Sydney invests in the company for financially and is fully supporting and starts spending more time with Dre again. But around the same time becomes engaged, and Dre thinks she's just making a huge mistake. And after catching Reese cheating, Dre and Sydney sleep together, which complicates things even further. Sydney's still engaged, so she asks for space from Dre and then calls off her engagement. And when she goes to tell him, he's with Reese again, just hanging out. So now it's time for Chris's single to play on the radio, and Dre hears Sydney's radio interview where she's talking about her new book, I Used to Love Him. And it's a love letter to hip hop, but it's basically a love letter to him.
Yep.
And he realizes this and runs to the radio station to profess his love, and they embrace in love. It's so good.
It's so
this movie.
sweet. I have to say, one of my favorite things about this movie is how hip hop is just an analogy or a metaphor for Dre. From the moment she starts talking about hip hop in the narration, you know who she's talking about right away. It's so great. So this is a 2002 film written by Michael Elliott and Rick Famuyiwa. Sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, but Rick also directed this film, and his past credits include The Wood, The Shy, Dope, and a few episodes of The Mandalorian, actually. And so I think that's really cool. Yeah. What was also really cool, so Sydney's fiance in here, Kelby, is played by Boris Kodjoe, who...
Yeah, beautiful.
Beautiful, but like he's still fine to date. That's what always blows my mind is these men are still fine to date, and it's like they're aging like freaking fine wine. But I thought it was interesting because Idris Elba actually auditioned to play Kelby. Could you imagine this movie with Idris Elba? Right?
No, actually I can't. Still would add so much. Like this cast is so hot. Just everyone who has a speaking role, beautiful, really. Like so he would fit in well with the beauty part of it. But I don't know. Like I feel like this movie's so it's casted so well that I wouldn't want to change anything.
Exactly.
You know? So I actually read that the idea for this project came from the screenwriter Michael Elliott, who took inspiration from a Mary J. Blige song in 7 Days. And Elliott thought that this story of like two lifelong friends navigating like a dynamic between platonic and romantic was just such a great idea. And wow, was he right? You know, it's so, oh gosh, and like we've talked about how we aren't the biggest fans of the childhood friends to lovers thing, but I love it in this movie.
I think this is how you do it though, Mercedes.
Exactly.
I think that's why we like it, because this is the right way to do it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It makes sense, and it's organic, right? And it's not necessarily forced. And I have a lot to say about it in a little bit, but I thought it was also cool that this was Taye Diggs and Sanaa Lathan's third film together. Like by 2002, they had already done 3 films together. And also, Boris Kodjoe and Nicole Harry Parker are married in real life. I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, they've been married since 2005. I wonder if they met on this set. But
they must have met on this set.
They must have had this set, right? And they're still married today. They have like 2 or 3 kids, and they're a gorgeous couple.
Oh yeah, beautiful people.
Beautiful.
Oh, I love how, I don't know, like romance these actors are. Like by this time, Taye Diggs and Sanaa Lathan had both established themselves as amazing romance leads. And even Michael Elliott, he wrote the screenplay for Just Right because of Queen Latifah's performance in this movie. And you know me, I love Queen Latifah as like one of the queens of rom-coms, and I really do think that. So like, and I love Just Right. So knowing that wouldn't have been made without this movie, I'm so much more grateful for this movie.
Exactly. It's so good. I think too, this movie just like sets my whole heart on fire, because this was the time that I was really into rap music. I was really into hip hop. So at the beginning, when they start off the movie and they start doing interviews with everyone, they had Pete Rock on there. They had Common. They had all of these rappers I had grown up with and listened to, just like and it was so cool. So I will never forget, Common walked past my bedroom window here in Los Angeles during one of the marches for the Black Lives Matter movement, and I saw him in real life, and he was glowing. And he also came into my office when I was at Stars to pitch something, and he said hello to me, and I was like, Common, let's get married.
Truly. Oh my gosh.
Let's get married.
Oh, I love all these like little moments with Common you have.
I know.
Through time.
I have these little moments with celebrities that like over time I'll start telling more and more stories, but like sometimes celebrities just kind of pop back up into my life, and I'm not mad about it. Not mad about it at all.
Yeah. I mean, they see you. They feel you.
All right, guys, we're going to move over into Time Capsule. Mercedes and I just like to recall where we were when we first watched this movie, which, of course, if you remember, I never remember where I was. But I do definitely remember it was on BET, because that's all I used to watch in middle school. It was And this movie was just always on. And I think BET used to start playing movies at either like 7:30 or 8 right after 106 in Park. I'm totally dating
Oh
myself.
my
If
gosh, classic.
anyone remembers 106 in Park, that was my favorite time. And I think I saw a lot of like the black rom-com, just like black movie classics on BET that I wasn't able to see on like other channels because other channels weren't playing it. So it was really cool. So really that channel was really a staple in my childhood and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember it's always beside on any cable next to MTV and VH1. There were only specific channels I would check. So I would check those three, and then I would check like Bravo and E. That says like the type of person I am. So like they were always in my same rotation, and like all the best
Mhm.
movies would play on
Yeah.
BET. Like every weekend, they had great marathons.
Yeah. And I think too, like I said, BET just made me feel really seen and heard. And I'm curious for you, Mercedes. Like, yeah, we did JLo Week, and I know she was a big staple in your childhood. What other movies from when you were younger made you feel just like really seen and heard in your identity?
Oh my goodness. Okay. I have to shout out America Ferrera. Like, Real Women Have Curves, Gotta Kick It
Yes.
Up, even Carmen and Sister of the Traveling Pants. Truly everything that she did as a younger, and like Ugly Betty too. Like, I was Ugly Betty for Halloween last year. Like, truly,
Oh,
she made
no
an
way.
impact on me. And I think all of her roles, I don't know if you can like grow up being kind of dorky Latina and like not identify with her. I think
Yeah.
I think that's just kind of like the law. Like if you're around in the early 2000s, then you definitely are attached to her on some emotional level.
That's very true. I remember her from Gotta Kick It Up, the Disney Channel original movie
Yes,
about like
so good.
loved it. So I watched it all. Actually, I think that movie is what inspired me to join dance team in middle school.
It's
Like,
so, oh my gosh, when Disney Channel would do the things online where you could like vote for what movies you wanted for the summer, that one I'm voting every day for as long as I could. I loved it.
exactly. Where were you
Like,
the first time that you watched this movie? Do you remember?
so I didn't watch this movie till college.
Wow.
Which is shocking for me because usually, especially the early 2000s ones,
Mhm.
I knew them all. But yeah, I didn't watch this till college. And it's actually funny because I watched it the summer after I took this hip hop history and literature course. I was an English major, media studies double
Yeah.
majors. And I had this perfect blend, and it was blending like hip hop history and literature and also like elements of BLM activism too. Like this was all part of the course.
Mhm.
And I learned so much. So then the beginning of this movie, when they're referencing all of these historical rappers and MCs, I knew immediately every single name, which
Yep.
I don't think I would have before I took that course. I would have known the people talking, but probably not all the names that were being referenced. And like even now being able to like just know that because this movie isn't one that teaches you about hip hop. It's for people who already are hip hop lovers, you
Yep.
know?
100%.
Which I really just respect because you're already walking into this being like, I know what I'm gonna get. And if
Yeah.
you don't know anything about hip hop, I'm sure the people who watch this for the first time, you want to go and search these names because obviously they have such an impact.
They
So,
seriously do.
yeah, I just love hearing like all the icons being referenced in this movie.
It's nice to kind of feel like this movie is also like an exclusive club. You have to know in order to like understand. So
Yeah.
it always made me feel included because like again, those are people I just like would throw their CDs on in my car, like in
Mhm.
my freaking boombox. Again, dating myself. It was so great. I also remember though in 2002, so I was 10 years old. I started playing the violin around then. I started playing the trumpet and
Ooh.
the violin around then. And I think I was influenced by, have you heard of the hip hop violinist?
No.
Okay,
Tell me.
her name is Miri Ben Ari. So she's this Israeli violinist that was in every single hip music video, like hip hop music video in the early 2000s.
Oh my
So
gosh, then
she,
I've definitely heard her. I just
yeah,
don't know.
you've seen her.
Yeah.
You've seen her. If you watch like Twista, Alicia Keys, Jay-Z, any of their videos from like 2000 to like 2006, she was in all of their music videos. She played for everyone. And I never knew her name growing up, but like we always just call her like, yeah, she's a hip hop violinist. Like she was a girl with curly hair and she'd play like the violin in all these music videos. And it was really cool because it's the violin, which is like a classical instrument, over these like hip hop beats. And it was so cool. It was so cool. So, anyways, I think I was a little influenced by her because I thought she was really cool. And also,
Yeah.
I think the violin lessons were either like free or super cheap, so they were really convenient for my parents. So that's why
That's always important. That's always important.
how do I get our kid out of the house for 2 hours? Put her in violin
Exactly.
lessons.
Without paying thousands.
Without paying.
Yeah. Oh my
What were
goodness.
you doing?
I was 6 when this movie came out. I was in first grade, which is when I first started playing basketball. So coincidentally, I was definitely rewatching another Sanaa Lathan classic that we've already discussed and raved about on the pod, Love and
Yep.
Basketball.
Love
And it's so
basketball.
funny that like that was definitely in my movie rotation heavily at this time when this movie came out. And I mean, they're only a couple years apart, but
Mhm.
still, the early 2000s, like she made such an impact as a romance lead. Wow.
Yes. Ugh. Still to this day, she's making an impact. So now, Lathan, shout out to
Yes,
you. I hope we do all of your movies in the time that we do this
definitely.
podcast.
Yes, that's a goal.
It's a goal. All right, guys, it's time for the Rom-Com Hall of Fame. But first, of course, Mercedes, as always, we have to roast this movie. It is from 2002. It is
Yeah.
20 years old, so there should be a lot more to roast. But I'm curious, like, what do you think? What are you thinking?
So we've had this conversation a lot, and it's that classic rom-com casual infidelity.
Casual.
Like there, like why is there so much cheating in this genre, and why haven't I realized it before? And this movie, there's definitely cheating in on a lot of different sides. So that's probably my roast, just the cheating in all of these, especially early 2000 rom-coms, it seems. But something I do appreciate is that Reese isn't playing this evil fiance/wife character. She's dynamic and three-dimensional just as much as our leads are, and she's not just like some basic villain.
Yeah.
So even her complicated cheating dynamic too, like you understand her on some level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think my roast for this just has to be the lingo, like how we used to talk. What? After Sydney and Dre have sex, she's like, we
Yeah.
just got busy. Like, what? Who says that? And then when Dre is making his speech at the Christmas party, the New Year's party, and he's like,
Yeah.
I'm a little twisted to say that he's drunk. Like,
Yeah.
we would like what? And then every time there was a good song on the radio, you'd be like, oh, this is a cut. This is a joint. Oh my god, I can't. Honestly, I'm so shocked that there was no like fashizzle type stuff in this movie.
I was shocked that the Dalmatians duo didn't say
Yeah,
anything like that, because that was definitely up their alley.
that was up their alley. Also, too, that was so funny. I think that's
Oh
a
yeah.
little bit of a roast too, because it's so cringe. Like the whole
But it's so real. Like that duo could come out now and you'd still be cringing, but it would happen. Like they would get signed.
they would
'Cause
get signed. Exactly.
some random just like white boy in like the Midwest would be loving it.
Yeah. It's so funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, what is your favorite quote? Like when you watch this movie, what is a quote that just gets you every time?
Okay. There's so many. And I think it's because of Taye Diggs. He's just so funny in this movie, and his timing is so great. I have two. I know my first one is a funny one, and it's when he confronts Reese, and he's like,
Trying to order the most expensive bottle of champagne because we finna celebrate.
Dre.
We gonna celebrate what? My divorce.
so funny, and like he's just so hilariously chaotic in this scene.
Mhm.
And like the whole clip, I wish I could clip the whole thing because everything he says, even when he's like Richard Lawson and like he's saying his name, I'm like, this is perfect.
He's like, you sound educated.
Exactly.
Okay, there's so many. Most of my quotes are from Mos Def, like Chris's character.
Oh,
'Cause he's
hilarious.
so funny. He's so funny. But I took the romantic route this time. I love when they're at the New Year's party and it's right after Kelby proposes to Sydney, and she says,
So, what is the difference between rap and hip hop? It's simple. It's like the difference between saying you love somebody and being in love with somebody. Rap is just a word.
I was like, oof. Tugging
Oh.
all of my heartstrings, Sydney. Tugging all of them.
I know. I wish I could read her book.
Me too. I know. I feel like she's a strong writer.
Yeah. My second favorite is so sweet, and it's when Taye Diggs says,
Can't wait for your book to come out. When you left, I went out, got the LA Times every Wednesday for your column. And go to the park and read it. I don't know, it's made me feel closer to you.
and like, as a writer, like
Yeah.
the idea of the man you love reading your articles, that's how you see her. That's how you hear her. That's how you understand her. And like, that was his way of being close with her. And I just, oh my God. And she doesn't ask, he just
Yeah.
says it.
He just brings it up just naturally, organically. Mercedes, I feel like honestly, the amount of rom-coms we watch, how is our like perception of men not completely skewed? I feel like I just have
I
such
do
high
think it
standards.
definitely
Like, if you
is.
are
I'm
not,
sorry.
yeah. I'm like, if you are not out here watching all of my TikTok videos and looking at all the articles I've been featured in, what are you doing?
Yeah. And like think about being just a creative in any realm. Like that all your work is incredibly vulnerable.
Yeah.
And for the man you love to go out of his way to really engage with the work you create,
Mhm.
that's so important because it really is like showing a whole other side of your heart to the world.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I that sometimes she's speaking directly to him in her
Mhm.
book and in her writing, and I think he feels that too, and that's why he feels so close with her.
Yeah, and I think too, there's such a level of comfort to show vulnerability through your art and then to
Yeah.
be fully accepted. And I just like want to share something like in that realm because I just came back from the Netherlands and Belgium for my birthday trip
Yeah.
and it was amazing and I got to reconnect with one of my friends. His name is Alex. I met him in my hostel in Mongolia back in 2019.
Oh my
And he
gosh.
yeah, he's Dutch and he lives in the Netherlands, so he took the train to come and see me. And when we first met, we got really close because it was so easy to be vulnerable with him. And also he was super accepting of me. So like I know a lot of our listeners know this, but like I identify as a late bloomer and also too like I'm still a virgin. I've never had sex before and I'm
Mhm.
30 years old and it's just like, a personal choice. But I remember we got on the topic of love and relationships when we met and we started talking about this and like here every single guy who has ever found out that small part about me has thought that I was like an alien, right? They've thought there's
Mm.
something wrong with you, it's a red flag, like you're weird, all of these things. And to be able to share that with my friend Alex and have him just be like, that's really cool. Like that's awesome that you do that. And just to completely accept me in that moment was so
Yeah.
powerful. And so I know that that's probably how Sydney is feeling in that moment of like, gosh, to show like a part of myself through my writing, to have you not only read it, but make it a priority and like accept me based off of that. It's just
Yeah.
such a beautiful feeling.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
So, Mercedes, if this movie pops up on your Tinder feed, are you swiping left or are you swiping right?
I'm swiping right. I adore this movie. It makes me genuinely laugh so hard, and the love feels real. What I really appreciate is that it's an honest love story, and you understand why they work together, and they're
Mhm.
not just good friends. This is a true romance. And it's a true friends to lovers in the best way possible. And
Yeah.
you see all the in between moments between them that really emphasize their connection and their chemistry. Dre is just so absolutely brilliant as a character. Taye Diggs is so funny, like I've already said. And I think he just brings such a different. I don't know if a lot of people would bring so much humor to this character. He has to deal with a really rushed marriage. He's dealing with a divorce. He's dealing with career changes. And
Mhm.
he still brings the lightness to each scene, you know?
Yeah.
And then we have Sanaa Lathan, who's just so amazing at childhood friends to lovers. Like, holy cow, she is the face of the trope, you know?
Yes.
Anytime she's a part of any childhood friends to lovers movie, I'm here for it and I love it. And I don't know, this movie just gets it correct because the leads know each other and they understand each other, and we get to see that all unfold in a way that makes sense. And the
Mhm.
time feels regular. I don't know, like something about it, like it never feels rushed
Mhm.
into their love story. And you
Yeah.
don't ever question why or how they're in love. We see their good moments and we see their annoying, frustrating moments. And he just reads her articles, and I am never
Mhm.
going to get over that. And it shows all the parts that a lot of rom coms leave out, all the in betweens that make it real love, you know?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
also just the supporting characters. Chris, scene stealer. Also,
Mhm.
like Queen Latifah's character as her cousin, so good. And
So funny.
I love how Mostaf's character, like, he's so confident as a rapper, and then he's so shy around her. That's what makes Chris such a precious, like, a supporting character. And you want
Yeah.
to root for him too. And it also makes him so much hotter to see how shy he gets. I don't know what that is in my brain that I'm like, that's so hot.
What is that, Mercedes? What is that? I
I
got
don't know.
tickle
I
deeper
love a
than
shy boy.
I 1000% agree with you. I'm swiping all the way right. One, two, because Taye Diggs is a fellow Syracuse alum. Shout out Orangeman. And
Ah,
yeah. And I also feel like I was saying in the beginning, the reason we like this movie so much is because this is the healthy kind of childhood relationship, like
yeah.
friends to lovers trope that we think they do so well. It's because they both grow up together, they support each other, they see each other through different seasons, but they are also their own people, right? They
Mhm.
date other people, they have the freedom to do whatever it is that they want. They move to different cities. They still live their lives independent of each other, but they always come back together. I think that's what shows the foundation of the relationship is that
Mhm.
respect and that they're both drawn to each other in that way, right?
Yeah.
Always coming like just living completely independent lives where they keep coming back to each other, they keep making sure that they are each other's priority in their lives. And so that's why I like this movie. And like in the ways that we don't like other like, oh yeah, we've been together since we were 2 years old. Like that's weird.
Yeah. Oh, you said it so well. And it's so true. They have a mutual respect and they give each other space to grow and
hmm
evolve, which a
hmm
lot of these childhood friends to lovers type of things don't give. And as much as this movie praises the past, like a huge motive for them is to go back to this area of authenticity within hip hop. And I
hmm
think that also speaks to like their bond as well. Like, let's go back to like the roots of our bond. But even when they're looking back at the past and reminiscing and like connecting on that level again, they're still allowing for space for their present day person too,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Who is that person that's kind of always been there in your life, Mercedes? I know you have a lot of friends. You're a very popular girl, but who is that person that like you guys have known each other for a really long time and you always come back to each other. Like it doesn't matter how much time has passed. It always feels like no time has passed.
Yeah, I think I have a few friends who I made right at the beginning of middle school
hmm
who we've seen each other through such different seasons. I have to shout out Kaylee, like she's one of my best friends ever and one of my truly favorite people in the entire world.
Hmm.
And I remember meeting her on the first day of 6th grade and I remember being like, I don't know if I'm going to like you. And then we like hit it off and we haven't lived in the same place since high school and we've still maintained such a healthy friendship. And when we do like have our long calls again, it's I don't know what it is, but it feels like our emotions are always aligned where I'll be like, yeah, I was really feeling this way or dealing with this and she's like, I was doing that same thing. And it's
hmm
like, I don't know, we're on the same wavelength all the time even if we're not in constant contact. And I've like loved seeing her become who she is and grow and learn more about herself. It's so exciting and she's just a
Yeah.
genius and amazing.
Shout out Kaylee. Way to be a friend,
Yeah.
Kaylee. I have to give a shout out to my friend Shalina. We have known each other since first grade, and she has
Wow.
just she every single time I call, she answers. In the freaking what is it, like 25 years that we've been friends. Every single time I've
That's
called, she has answered.
crazy.
And she always makes time for me. Even if she can't talk right then, she'll answer and be like, I'll call you back. And it's amazing. It's so it's so nice. I never get sent to her voicemail, but also too she's pregnant right now, and I saw her recently when I was in Atlanta a few weeks ago because that's where she lives, and she's about to have a baby, and I literally went on a whole shopping spree for this baby, and it was so fun, but, like, I just love that she has been that kind of consistent person, and we don't need to talk every single day. I know she has my back. I know she's going to support me. I know she's always going to be there for me, and it's such a great feeling to have that. And listeners, I want to know who are your friends who are like that? They're just staples in your life who you know are going to be there through thick and thin. Let us know. Slide into our DMs.
Sandra, I love our friends.
I love
Like
our friends.
I love getting to sit here with you and just like gush about these friends we've had forever.
Yeah, we have very special people in our lives, but I also feel like that says a lot about us too, Mercedes. Like we attract
Totally.
good people, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna move over to couples therapy. Mercedes and I just like to try to give advice for these couples and how they can improve their relationships. And I feel like I say this every single week, but I really just hope the two of them can remain honest with each other. Honesty
Mhm.
is such a big foundation in relationships. You don't have anything if you cannot have trust and honesty. And so I feel like it was by them lying not only to like each other, but themselves that got them into this situation. So I hope that as they add sex and love into their relationship, which changes everything, that they can
Mhm.
still maintain that level of friendship because it's that friendship that's going to keep them going through hard times. It's going to keep that respect between them. And when the two of them get angry at each other and don't want to do, like, cannot stand each other anymore, it's that friendship that's going to push them through. So I want them to always maintain that.
Yes. I love that. So I know I keep focusing on the fact that Dre reads his articles, but my advice is just to continue that. He sees her in a way that no one else does. And a part of that is because he reads her writing. And she's a writer, and to be read is to be seen and understood. And he does that for her, and he truly knows her. And always just read her writing, and then you'll truly hear her. You know? I
100%.
think she definitely shares so much more of her emotions in her narrations from her book that we hear as the voiceover.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where like her soul is, you know? Like that's where you're going to find the heart of her. That's where you're going to find all of her passion. Like it takes so much of her to like really say I love you to him. And yeah, as long as he just like keeps reading those articles, I think he's in a good place, you know? And she loves him for his passion and his crafts within the music industry, and they have this shared love for authentic hip hop. And she also deserves to be loved for her passion of writing about hip hop too. And they share this love of words because of their love of hip hop. And I just want that to continue. So hip hop is their love language. Bond over these words, connect over each other's words, and yeah, love
Yeah,
them.
hip hop is 100% their love language. I think too for Sydney specifically, her love languages also are words of affirmation, acts of service because you could
Yes.
see, yeah, you could see how much it hurt her when Kelby didn't read her articles, but then you can also see how much it meant to her when she realized that Dre did. And I think Dre's is physical touch. I definitely think
Yes.
he is so handsy. Do you not? Because even he's always like kissing Reese or Sydney, but even when he walks into the restaurant to confront Reese cheating, he was like, it was like the way that he was holding onto Sydney's arm. Like he needed to like be touching her for support. Did you notice that?
Yeah, and even their hugs, like when they're just like right when they reunite again in New York when she moves back, their embraces are like so full.
Yeah, exactly. Full embraces.
Yeah.
What do you think their love languages are?
So I completely agree with you that Sid needs words of affirmation. I think she gives acts of service and quality time, because this is a long time friendship. So I think quality time plays a huge role here. And they've really bonded over these years of just, I don't know, just connecting over their shared interests. And these two have decades of friendship. So their bond is automatically going to be different than any other relationship they have. And it's lasted because of quality time and mutual support. She supports the record label and his dreams financially and just as a friend. And he supports her writing. They share this language. So I think words of affirmation has so much to do here.
Yeah.
And I do think he needs quality time, and he gives physical touch and words of affirmation, because even like when he gives a toast on New Year's and he's like, you're the perfect verse over a tight beat. And and she just feels so seen, you know?
Yeah.
And like the fact that he can just effortlessly quote her work, that's just a whole other type of words of affirmations. Like, wow.
This movie made me realize how low my standards are for men. I'm just like, if you're nice.
I was watching an old episode of Laguna Beach the other day.
Oh, stop it.
Season
Are you
3.
serious?
Season 3 is my favorite. Yeah, and I've been rewatching lately. And there was this one scene where she's like, I love that you brought a blanket to our picnic. And I was like, the bar is so low. Like, that's what she loves.
So low. But what's not low is the love that Sydney and Dre clearly have for each other. So I have a question for you, Mercedes. I ask you every week. Do you think this couple lasts in 5 years?
Of course. These two are soulmates. They're together forever.
Yeah, 100% agreed. All right, guys, it is time for Heartthrob. We just like to gush about who we like in the movie. Mercedes, who are you taking home to introduce to your friends and your family?
So this was so hard, which is shocking because usually this is a pretty easy answer for us.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I think the men in this movie, every character is just amazing. I have crushes on all the main men for different reasons. But I'm going to say Dre. There's just something so attractive about an already hot guy who's also goofy. He makes fun of himself. He's self-aware for the most part. And he also really understands Sid, which is so important.
Yeah.
And I love how goofy Taye Diggs is in this movie. It's just, oh gosh, I swoon.
I agree with you. I understand. Like I did have a crush on every single guy here, but it is without a doubt Chris. Big time
Yes.
Chris. I cannot emphasize this enough. Mos Def was my whole heart growing up. My whole heart growing up. I love him more than Air. Like I cannot breathe without him. Love most stuff. He's so funny in this. Like, and
Yeah.
it's so amazing because he was such a sick lyricist, but then he'd go and act,
Mhm.
and he was so good and he had amazing comedic timing. And I just loved how multifaceted he is. And I think I'm talking more about those stuff than I am about his character, Chris. But
I no, but like I don't think people realize how many movies he's been in.
I know he's a
Yeah.
legit actor, and he's
Yeah.
good too. But I
And he
love Chris. I love all of his like quick little lines and jokes. I also love that he was super humble too. Like he was an
Totally.
amazing rapper, but then you just go back and drive his cab, and just that's just life. That's just what
Oh
happened.
my goodness. The whole Casablanca scene
Yes,
is
in the
so
fog.
good. And he's just like,
So
I am not Humphrey Bogart. You're Humphrey Bogart.
yeah.
And it's so clever. And
Mhm.
oh man. Yeah, I totally agree with you. He's
So
so
good.
great.
And like I love those types of movies too. So we would have endless conversations. All right, guys, we're gonna play Mary Smooch Ghost Mercedes. We got Dre, Chris, and Kelby. Who are you marrying? Who are you smooching? And who are you ghosting?
This is so hard because I don't want to ghost anybody. So I'm
Oh,
gonna smooch two and marry
okay.
one.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna marry Dre.
hmm
And then I'm gonna smooch Chris and Kelby. I don't want to ghost any of these men.
I
truly.
hear you. I 100% hear you. So I'm gonna marry Chris, and I will smooch Dre and Kelby. I'm glad we're
Yay.
on the same page with that one. But before we wrap it up, listeners, we always love to bring in a pop culture moment. So I love the show Succession on HBO Max.
Mhm.
And Sanaa Lathan was in this latest series and this latest season, sorry. And it just blows my mind that she does not age. She does not age. I was Googling her when I was watching the last season, and she is 50 years old. And I'm just like, when did that happen? I think in my mind, she's still like something new, Sanaa Lathan, which we have to do that movie on
Oh
a future
yeah.
episode. Yeah, and she's 50. And it's like her and Taraji P. Henson, like, okay, when we talk about actresses that have made me feel seen in my identity, Sanaa Lathan and Taraji P. Henson are two people who come to mind. And I just really love that they kind of never play these tropes of stereotypical Black women. They're always empowered. They're always in positions of power. They're always like very confident. And I feel like I've gravitated more towards their movies than like anyone else. And I'm obsessed with them. If I could be anyone in the world, it would be like a love child between Sanaa Lathan and Taraji P. Henson.
I love that. No, and you're so right. I don't think I've ever like really like when you think about their filmography and just the characters they've been,
Mhm.
they're always such dynamic, three-dimensional characters who have such good stories.
Mhm.
Oh, it's so true. Now I just want to do a whole marathon binge of all their work.
Exactly.
So I don't know if you know about the celebrity hotties in white cable knit sweaters trend. I think around the Chris Evans, I forget the 2019 mystery movie where he's that evil rich boy with like the white cable
Knives
knit
Out.
sweater. Yes, Knives Out. I could not remember. And so everyone loves to talk about this whole trend of just celebrity Hollywood hotties in these white cable knit sweaters. And I need to let the record state that Taye Diggs wins this contest.
He wins.
In this white cable knit sweater competition, he wins forever. In the last scene when he's running over to Sid, and oh my God, the coziest sweater ever. And I'm like, please let me borrow it. Like, I'm obsessed.
Let me just sleep in it. Let me be wrapped up in it.
Literally. And no one brings him up in this conversation, and I need it to be known that he wins.
You hear that, listeners? Taye Diggs wins the cable knit sweater competition. No one else.
Exactly.
But also, guys, we want to know who else are some of your contendants in this competition. What did you think of the movie Brown Sugar, of Dre and Sydney's relationship? We want to know all of it. Make sure to slide into our DMs at MeetCute. Again, guys, I'm Kendra. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Ken10Hollywood.
Yes, and I'm Mercedes. You can find me at MercedesGV11 on Twitter, IG, and TikTok. And if you're looking for new rom-coms, follow Meet Cute wherever you listen to podcasts and follow Meet Cute on socials everywhere. Bye, everybody.
We'll see you next week.
Granddad, what's good?
Hey there, got us a quarter pounder with cheese and McNuggets.
Wow, haven't had our special McDonald's order in a minute.
Heard your little tic-tac-toe dance didn't get no likes.
Oh man, is Mom telling everybody?
You know she is.
There's a deal for every favorite grandson at McDonald's. Right now, get one favorite like a Quarter Pounder with cheese or 10-piece Chicken McNuggets and get another for just $1. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Valid for item of equal or lesser value.
Hi, Meet Cuties. We're so excited to let you know that you can now binge our newest series, Influence, exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. It's Meet Cute's modern adaptation of Jane Austen's Persuasion, and we know you're going to love it.